Yo, what's up, guys? Alright, so, Taka Fam, I'm back with a funny deck profile. So, the first funny thing is, I was actually supposed to record a branded Predaplant deck profile, but apparently I can't find those cards anywhere. So, I'm sorry that it is taking so long, but I'm still looking for them. But, this is a deck I've been theorying and working on for a long time, and I call this the Fusion Pile. And here's why. So this deck's nothing but engines, and I'll explain everything as I go. Chimera engine. So we're going a little bit smaller than what some people play, but this is the entire engine. So I actually was playing with one Gazelle, because typically that is all you need, but we do play two Baphomets. So when you tag the Sword Knight, you want to be able to search this and search something else. So this is the most important one you want to see, but typically you'll be okay with these kind of ratios because we do have a decent amount of normal summons, it feels like. So I feel like you might not need this as much, but it can come up for a lot of the combo lines, which I can show later. Then for the next, this is the Shaddoll package. So you only need one in one of each name, and I'll get to why. But Shaddoll Fusion is not as good because you're not playing all the bricks, like so many names. And this card is really a lot better going second. So post side, I do side two more. For the next engine, Ally the Star is back. So this deck is all about fusioning. So we want to try to make sure we get to a fusion card at all times and always be able to fuse. So I was back and forth thinking about one or two invocations, just because you don't want to like overdraw a lot of this stuff and you don't want stuff to clump, but like I said, you always want to fuse. So I'll keep testing and seeing what happens, and you guys let me know how y'all testing goes with this deck. Then for the next engine, branded engine. So all one cards, that's all we're trying to do is just fuse in one card. They can't dash everything. So this engine goes really well with all the engines in the deck. They all facilitate everything. They all work together, and I'll show you how. You don't need more than one Albaz, and I prefer not to draw this card. If I do, it's not the worst, but if I play more than one, since it's not a pure branded deck, I would probably brick a lot. And for the supporting casts, so we playing two keeper. I almost didn't want to play this card, but like I said, I was going to play the Predaplant version and show you guys that. But this, outside of Chimera Fusion, this gets all the fusion cards in your deck. I mean, it doesn't get, invocation, but it still can summon any of the materials for branded from the graveyard. So it summons Albaz from the grave face down. It can summon Alistair from the grave face down as well too. So that can come up, but typically this helps you get some of the monsters out of your hand sometimes. So even if this gets stopped with an imperm, some of your cards are just better off in the grave anyway. But it could get cut later on down the line because there's no real way to search it because I'm not playing Bestials. And then Shaylin. So I like Shaylin a lot because this being sent to the grave with any of the fusion cards just equals another fusion card because she just allows you to fuse. I know I could play the other tier monsters, but she's the best one for this deck because one, she's level 4. 2, she also lets you get the monsters out of your hand, as I said before, because you don't really want to clump on too many monsters. And this does trigger the Shaddoll monsters too, and Mills 3, so it's not that bad. And it can put stuff into your graveyard. And then Foolish Burial, because it can send Shaylin, it can send anything pretty much. And then for like the going second type cards, so I'm playing this for stuff like Arise Heart, for Noir, stuff like that. And it's pretty good with Chimera Fusion because it's a fiend as well. 2 Nip because I don't really feel like being FTK by Vanadium. And then I play 4 books. So 2 Eclipse and 2 regular Book of Moon. So these serve a lot of good purposes. And because a lot of your normal summons feel like they can be fragile, at least these help you to book them face down so that they can resolve. So if you're targeted by cards like Valor, Imperm, and stuff. So that's 40 cards. Let me show you the extra deck. So the extra deck's super tight because of all the engines. But you only need one King of the Phantom Beasts. He's recyclable. Because I also play these two for the branded engine. So you don't need any others. Lubellion's good because Lubellion allows you to make any fusion monster in your extra deck because it puts the materials back into the deck. So that's why I was saying you could somewhat get away with just playing one Gazelle, because you could just kind of put the Gazelle back into the deck so that you can summon it later off the Mirror Knight. That's why you don't necessarily need it as much. Rimbrim's good because we all know the one card branded fusion line whenever you send Gazelle, but I definitely could show you guys that, so I'll put Rimbrim to the side. For the Invoke package, so of course we got Mechaba, but you know I call this card Murky Bruh because that's what it does most times. Ago80s is really good too because it synergizes with all your cards because it just takes Alistair and any fusion monster. So if you're playing, he just gets better, and he gets bigger if you banish your fusion monsters. Radiant's really good because a lot of people are playing Droll, and this can at least get you a Book of Moon, and Book of Moon's really good right now, so why not? And this is your at-home, do one card at a time type of card, which a lot of people are annoyed by Kaliga, but there's a lot of dark monsters in here, and you don't have to do too much, because your opponent is forced to respect this and get over this. So if they don't have a book card, then they have to find other ways to get over it. So you're almost guaranteed another turn with Kaliga because they kind of have to enter battle early. And yes, you'll probably have Alistair, but more than likely we're not going to save it, but unless your hand just really sucks. And it's actually just really good against everything because every player only gets one card, like one monster effect. So if you're trying to play and they try to hand trap you, they can only hand trap you once. So that's pretty good. And then my two Shaddoll's. So realistically, you don't really need any others. You don't necessarily need Winda, but I mean, it's still Winda. It's a floodgate type monster, so it's pretty good. But mainly Shekanaga is needed for a lot of the combos, so I'll show you later. And then for my more generic ones, we're still trying to relieve her, Mud Dragon, and Drago Stapelia. So all these are really good because they do synergize with a lot of the cards too. This is a Fiend, so it works out a lot. This can be any attribute that you need. So since we are playing Invoke cards, it does work out too. And we play a lot of fusion, so any dark monster in any fusion, so it works out. Chimera, we all know what this card does. This card's crazy. And the last two cards I decided to play, so if you get Droll, we typically can make this. That's why I was saying like picking Shaylin was pretty important, being level 4, and it does help out a lot. So if you get Drolled, you can sit on that, and you should get another turn, to be honest. And then the last card, I didn't really know what else to put, but I like this card a lot. Invoker of Madness can come up because a lot of the fusions are like different attributes. So you definitely can make this with some of the fusion monsters and some of the main deck monsters. And this synergizes with every fusion card, and he counts as Alistair on the field, which is actually really good. So you can use this for pretty much anything. I believe graveyard too, to be honest. Yeah, so while it's in the grave or the field, it's Alistair the Invoker. So if you banish this with Invocation, you could do the same thing. And whenever you do activate a fusion card, either player actually, during a resolution, you discard a card for an effect, so it could trigger your Shaddolls and stuff, and then you search an Invocation. So it's pretty good. I mean, if it's destroyed by a card effect, it searches Omega Summon, but we're not playing that card. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. But let me show you how some of these work together, some of the engines. Try to make you guys a believer. Alright, so I'll show you a 1-card combo with Branded Fusion and Shaddoll Fusion as well. So a lot of these, there's a lot of ways to get to both of these. So say you do have the setup, whether you're going first or second and this goes through. So you activate branded, well, not branded fusion, sorry y'all. Activate Shaddoll fusion. So Shaddoll fusion, we're gonna send the hog. We're gonna send the gazelle. And we make Shekanaga. So now you could arrange your chain links however you want. So I could do like 1, 2. So you automatically get a card to your hand that you can use to negate with Shek, which helps you against Nibiru. So, and you get a draw out of it, so it replaces itself. And then you also use Gazelle and resolve it and search a Kodal. So now you have your Chimera engine online too. So we're gonna keep playing. So now we discard the Kodal. And then we search the Knight. And we have a normal summon, so we can just normal use the effects. And then get the Baphomet. And that now gets you to your branded engine. So you see what I mean? Like all the engines work together. So like the Shaddoll engine bridge into the Chimera engine, and then the Chimera engine bridge into the branded engine. So right now you can't really do anything with this. With this being in your hand, but you can at least activate. You still have this in your hand as well. So we're gonna fuse with a Beast and a Fiend. So now we make the King. And now for your chain links, you can pretty much do whatever. You could go 1, target the Sword Knight, and then 2. So you rip a card out of their hand as well, and you're safe from Nib. So if they do have Nib, you can negate the Nib, get it out of their hand, and then they're also going to lose another card. Now you can activate to add this back to your hands. And if you want, you can set it, or you can use it now if you like. It doesn't necessarily matter. If you don't really care about Nib right now, or you kind of want to play around it, what you could do is you can activate this. You can either fuse the Beast off so you can get a draw, or you can fuse this off so you can make a window here and then stun out your opponent even more. Or you can use this to get rid of these two. You can make something like Drago Stapelia. Well, not Drago, but you can make something, maybe not with these two, but Magnum. You can use this in your hand. That can come up, and you also still, like I said, have a Chimera play as well, because this gives you a monster automatically. So you at least have Chimera for however many. This gets cleared off the field. You get to add Shaddoll Fusion back from your graveyard. So now you can use this again if you need to. So now you're threatening this all over again. And also during their turn as well, you also still have this. So that's why we played the 2 Gazelles for this reason. So we're gonna get this, just not yet. We're gonna use this and then activate the effects. And now you have both of these. And because, like I said, we have the branded engine online, so whenever you fuse this off, since it's still during their turn, you could bring this back, and now you could just add branded fusion to your hand. So that's pretty cool. Something that I learned figuring out this deck. Alright. Now I will show you the branded line. Pretty much it's going to be the same thing, just about. So we do branded fusion this time. Send our boy. And then we send our Gazelle. And we make Rembrandt. And then Gazelle will do the same thing. Search Kodal. And discard Kodal to get Knight. So this is one of the main normal summons, it seems like. So there could be an argument to play more than 1. Maybe 3, just so you can just hard draw it. Because it seems like this could be one of the main choke points, like it's always been. But this is not including the other cards in your hand. So your hand could be really bad, you know, having too many other normal summons. But same thing as before, tributes, effects. So now we get this. and we get this. So we already have our branded engine together, so this just gives you more branded engine. It allows you to get your fusion again. And now what we can do here, activate. So Beast and Fiend, make king. Same as last time. Baphomet 1, king 2 to rip. We're going to target this to special. Then we're going to add this back to our hand. And now we have follow-up set up as well. Just with just the one card, as y'all know. Alright. Now, let me show you a quick one with something like same thing, like Alistair, we all know this. Like Alistair really could just turbo into like any attribute that you need. And this helping you to just get to a fusion card, and it gets to pretty much any of the engines based on your hand. So Alistair doesn't get cards from your deck outside of invocation. This gets all the monsters out of your hand. That's what he's for. The Chimera engine is to give you advantage. The Shadal engine is to thin your deck and to help bridge. And the branded engine also helps you bridge and turn any of the engines that you open into another engine. So yeah, this is a little fun deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Leave a like, share with your friends if you enjoyed this. Alright, Taka Fam. Peace.